Hey everyone, this is Chris Villame. I'm a technical marketing engineer with NetBrain. Hope everyone's doing okay. So today we're going to present our webinar, When Everyone Works Remote, Steps for Preparing Your Network. Joining with me today is Chris Lopez, also from our technical marketing team, who will be helping to run some live demonstrations in our lab environment. Additionally, we have Nick Liu from our network automation team sitting in on the webinar. So please feel free to give any feedback on your VPN network automation needs into the Zoom chat window. So I'm working from my home office right now, as I'm sure many of you are. This here is my home office. And that's my dog, Loki. So my first thoughts when we were informed that the office was temporarily closing down and that we were going to be transitioning to working from home were very basic things like, will my cable internet be reliable enough? Had I tested my VPN connection recently? And quite honestly, can I get any work done with my 8-year-old son doing schooling from home now? So it's really quite unbelievable how fast all of us has had to adapt to all of this. Our corporate IT team had the same concerns that all of you likely did. Can we operate our network reliably in such a time of big disruptions? So our network automation team spent the past week building a remote work toolkit to help us manage our own corporate VPN infrastructure. We built this in-house really for our own Cisco VPN design, and we've decided to make this remote work toolkit freely available to all our customers, and I'll have some details on that at the end of the webinar. So IT teams had little time to prepare for today's major workforce geography change. We're referring to this wide-scale shift to remote access solutions and VPNs as the remote workforce challenge, and it's definitely a challenge. This network shift results in considerable changes to control and data planes with 3 areas that warrant additional consideration and focus. First, there's likely to be increased traffic at the corporate internet circuit, and the concern would be, do we have complete visibility of internet edge? Secondly, the security policies for the VPN user path may need verification. As you know, you're entering your network now as a VPN user. Do those security controls permit and secure remote users the same as they did for on-site corporate users? And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, we will see greatly increased VPN traffic. Is your VPN infrastructure able to handle that increased number of remote users? So before moving on to the next slide, we'd actually like to get your feedback on what concerns you guys the most about the increase in remote access workers. Please provide any responses using the polling function, which should appear in a moment. All right, let's take a look at this. It looks like 63% of you said all of the above. 32% were concerned about the network edge. 13% were concerned about security controls in place for the VPN users, and 26% were concerned about VPN capacity itself. So that's interesting. That probably is along the lines of what our IT team was concerned with as well. So let's go ahead and move on. So with the shift to VPN, your corporate internet edge is now in the spotlight. NetOps leaders will immediately need to know the following. Will the internet router and associated internet connectivity have, will your internet circuits rather have enough bandwidth? And will your internet routers have enough capacity to handle this load? The solution here is to gather a holistic view with rich analytics and granular baselines to gauge link utilization, QoS performance, network device health, and so on. A layered performance view that can immediately reveal baseline violations. And that's the key here is that baseline. So NetBrain's golden baseline feature enables the tracking of all of your network data, application paths, configurations. It is this capability that provides the needed intelligent analytics essential for the management of your internet edge during the remote workforce challenge. So to demonstrate this, let's go over to Chris Lopez to take a look at how we're using NetBrain automation and the golden baseline feature for performance management of our internet edge. As noted, we've mocked up our corporate infrastructure in our own lab to test this toolkit ourselves. And so we're going to use this lab to kind of demonstrate the functionality that we've built.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to do a quick run through of verifying our network's health and remote preparedness now that everyone needs to work from home. I'm going to start with the thing that Chris was just mentioning, which is making sure our edge devices are healthy and comparing their current status against historical data. In order to do that, I'm going to be using the dynamic visibility that NetBrain provides, plus automation tasks to keep tabs on my overall VPN environment. And like he just mentioned, we are looking at a mock-up of our internet edge, and we can see an HA deployment that I'd like to take a closer look at because this is what's directly attached to the internet. So in order to verify the health of both of these devices, I'm going to go ahead and execute the overall health check here. Again, this is just an expression of NetBrain executing CLI commands across each of these devices and then visualizing this data for us directly on the dynamic map. And we can see here we have, we do have granular device information that's present here, interface detail. We have, CPU usage, memory utilization, and this isn't just a snapshot. This is, I actually would be able to take a look at this variable as it has progressed across my network. So I'd be able to see not only the CPU usage for right now, I'd be able to see the overall CPU usage for the last few days or even the last few months if I wanted to, in order to identify spikes at certain points in time or certain areas where the network was, was overburdened. And this isn't just limited to like overall health checks here. This Dataview template is capable of being customized to fit any kind of CLI command that you want to be executing across these devices. So if you wanted to take a look at QoS, all you need to do is modify the Dataview template in order to look at variables associated with show policy map interface. If I wanted to look at my BGP configuration, for example, I have a Dataview for that, and I'd be able to execute it. And I'd be able to see all the BGP information for every device that's currently active on my dynamic map. All right. And that is what I had to show for this section. I'm going to pass it back off to Chris, and he's going to take us to the next one.
All right, thanks, Chris. Let me go ahead and grab control here. Thanks, Chris, for that detailed look into performance metrics and golden baseline. Just point out one more thing about the golden baseline. What's really beautiful about this feature is that it can baseline literally any aspect of your network data. We have AI algorithms that actually do this baselining for us, and you can baseline entire tables of rows and columns, strings, numerical variables. So it's really a powerful analytic feature. So as a VPN user, you're coming in from outside the environment and attached to a VPN endpoint, and hence the path you take now to reach your internal business apps and services will be different than it would have been when accessed while sitting on the corporate office's LAN. As seen here, as a remote access user, you'll traverse different interfaces, devices, and potentially different firewall contexts. So the question we have is, will those security policies affecting this traffic flow permit the necessary traffic? Do the security controls adhere to our corporate security policies? And will my firewalls handle this load given these traffic profile changes? Maybe changes in bits per second, packets per second, session rate, and so on. So while the focus here is on firewall policies, and as you can see here, we do have some shared infrastructure, but of course, VPN users will definitely have some differences in path. So, while the focus is on the firewall policies as noted, I'll also point out that the same exercise should be performed to ascertain differences in other path characteristics such as MTU, end-to-end bandwidth, or QoS. The real key here is understanding how this change in traffic paths due to the shift to remote access VPNs will affect your users and their business applications. NetBrain's Path Calculator feature is 100% comprehensive. This is not a trace route. It's a real-time hop-by-hop analysis. It validates against every forwarding operation, such as NAT, firewall, ACLs, policy-based routing, MPLS, BRFs, and so on, giving a real-time and accurate hop-by-hop, interface-by-interface forwarding analysis of your application paths. Any firewalls in the path will be revealed, including which firewall contexts, which specific ingress, egress, ACLs apply to this traffic flow. So why are we concerned with this path security concept? The reason being, not having the same security controls and other path characteristics for VPN remote access users that you would have had for your corporate LAN users can result in a variety of problems. Specifically, you'll run into security risks as you may lack those same granular controls for this path. You may have reachability problems, especially if dealing with things like policy-based routing and other complexities of control plane. And potential performance problems. For example, you may not have enough bandwidth in this path, or you may have a smaller firewall in the path that handles a lower packet rate and so on. So by building a hop-by-hop path between VPN user and business application and ensuring that all forwarding operations are checked so that we have a 100% accurate forwarding path, we can then work to ensure that we have the same service level for VPN users as we guarantee for our corporate LAN users. NetBrains' Path Calculator feature and dynamic map enables you to track and visualize your firewall security policies, as well as other link characteristics such as MTU or bandwidth, or any other network trait that you could think of. This function provides an accurate means of plotting your application paths and enriching them with very granular metrics. So again, let's go back over to Chris Lopez for another look at our lab environment and see how we can visualize and troubleshoot VPN user paths using NetBrains' Path feature. On to you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. So we did just verify our internet edge in terms of device health and comparison with Golden Baseline. Now I'm going to perform a VPN verification, and also I'm going to check the security policies of other devices that are currently active in my environment. So here we can actually see A to B path that we've executed from one of our servers to make sure that it has internet access. And as we can see here, this is not just a simple trace route. This is actually a hybrid layer 2, layer 3 path that I'd be able to click this button and extend any layer 2 devices that also appear along the path. And I'd be able to see what criteria they were matched against and why, as it went from point A to point B. For example, as it crossed the firewall, we're able to see here that we had a NAT translation of when it went from internal IP address to an external IP address. And we can see that we actually do have internet connectivity, as a result of this line being able to reach the internet cloud. So what I'm going to do here, now that I can see that this path for my server is able to reach the internet, I'm going to go ahead and pull up another data view full of, that's going to pull all the ACLs that are currently exist in each of these devices. So we're going to go ahead and click Access List, the Dataview template here. And now we can see a list of all of the ACLs that currently exist on each of these devices, letting me know whether or not VPN traffic is permitted. Because if we're putting everybody onto a VPN, then suddenly that might affect, that might affect elements that are related to VLAN and other types of port traffic privilege. Basically, if we're using a VPN and the traffic might still be encrypted, then suddenly we might need to change the port numbers and need to go through that the ACL needs to allow into each of the routers. In addition, across each of the firewalls, we need to make sure that if there are resources or some other kind of element that needs to be whitelisted, then those need to be white. Then we are actually able to get a holistic view of the network that's able to tell us that, hey, this we have the ability to permit this traffic across these routers and other traffic across other routers and firewalls. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and verify our site-to-site VPN from our headquarters office to our branch office up in Canada. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and verify application with our application assurance module. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our server to branch service assurance path. And I'm going to go ahead and draw this path on the map to make sure that it's actually able to, we're able to pull resources from one server that we can obviously access from our headquarters and actually see if our branch office in Toronto is going to be able to get access to that as well. And it seems like it can. All right, and with that, we've verified not only that we have that our local resources have access to the internet, but that also our branch offices have access to our headquarters resources. And with that, I'm going to pass this back off to Chris. He's going to take us to the final section.
All right, thanks again for that path view. And again, just to point out, that's a bidirectional true accurate path. So again, it will reveal things like asymmetric paths and so on. It's a very powerful capability, essential for network operations. So now everyone's on the corporate VPN. There potentially may be 10 times, 100 times, or even more users than normally would be on the remote access network. Companies may not be sure if their VPN infrastructure can handle supporting the entire office workforce. I know our own IT, we definitely had these same concerns and had to do some pretty quick testing to validate this. So again, here IT leaders will need to know if there's enough VPN capacity for this workforce. For things like, do we have enough VPN licenses? Do we have enough IP addresses for VPN pools? And does our VPN architecture have enough capacity? But before moving on, I think this is another good opportunity for a polling question for you. We'd like to know this time which performance metrics are most concerning to you when it comes to increased VPN traffic. Please answer in the pop-up that should appear. All right, let's see what results we got here. So it looks like 11% selected Internet Edge performance and visibility, 5% for path security, parity, and verification, and 26% for VPN performance management. And then 74% said all of the above. Yeah, that's kind of in line with our IT as well. We were particularly concerned about the VPN performance management aspect as well. So I think that's a legitimate concern we all share. Let's go ahead and move on here. Again, remote access VPN architecture, despite its very common presence in corporations, is incredibly complex with a lot of interacting and moving parts. As we know, VPN design involves considerations of IP routing, IP address management for VPN users, subsystems such as DNS radius, certificate authorities, directory services. We have encryption header overheads and MTU concerns. We have concerns on security controls. And then, of course, we have concerns for VPN performance itself. Gauging performance and diagnosing these characteristics typically involves accessing many of these systems and issuing many manual CLI commands in sequence, and then gathering the necessary information, and then doing a stare and compare to analyze and understand. So we advocate a better solution, an automated solution that can provide complete visibility across the full spectrum of VPN components and metrics. We can instead abstract all of this network design and data into one-click data views. By distilling down the telemetry data and automating its collection, baseline, and visualization, we're able to achieve an automated approach to VPN performance management. So let's take a final look at our NetBrain lab environment and remote access setup, and let's go back over to Chris Lopez to take another dive into these VPN performance metrics. And we'll see how NetBrain's Dataview Templates provide the perfect vehicle for troubleshooting and visualizing a complex environment like a remote access network. On to you, Chris.
All right, so we have verified our network performance with the golden baseline. We've been able to verify our VPN paths with A to B path and also the application assurance module. And now finally, we're going to use Dataview templates to pull some live VPN statistics from each of our devices. And I'm going to start here with the VPN related tables. I want to point out that this is a multi-vendor Dataview template. So what's happening is we're executing CLI commands across different branches that will be executed across different devices. So obviously the Cisco, the Cisco iOS routers are going to receive different commands than our F5 load balancer here when we're pulling VPN statistics. And if I wanted to, I have a table of all the GRE tunnels, of the HA state, and even IPsec VPN tables in real time, giving me the same granular view that I also got from the first section when I was looking at link details. So over here, I can see the VRF name, the local IP, source and destination, and where everything's headed. And I'd be able to do this for every router that this was executed across. In addition, I'm going to go ahead and execute Anyconnect for the Cisco ASA firewall. This is a Dataview template that's going to be pulling active Anyconnect sessions that are currently here. So I'd be able to see which of my users are currently connected, what their login time was, how long they've been active, and if any users have been inactive or just logged in and without any kind of activity for a certain period of time. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and execute a Anyconnect ISE log, which is actually a third-party integration with our instance of Splunk here. So what NetBrain is doing is it's executing a separate, it's executing an API call to our instance of Splunk, and it's pulling in information related to each of these devices down onto the dynamic map. So I'm able to see VPN user authentications, and also if they failed, I'd be able to see the reason why they failed. And if for some reason I wanted to take a look directly into my instance of Splunk, I actually have a link to a Splunk VPN report that's accessible from the dynamic map. And this is going to help me consolidate all of my tools information into one single pane of glass, ensuring that I can do my job without having to hop through a bunch of different tools and a bunch of different data silos in order to do it. And we mentioned earlier that Dataview templates, that they are very customizable, and this is true. The Dataview templates can be built inside of a script, in a visual programming environment that doesn't require prior knowledge of scripting. And I'm going to go ahead and dive into this real fast. I mean, you have to be able to react quickly to scenarios, since you can't be prepared for everything. And we can see here that we're going to see here how easy this is. So we have the overall health check that I executed in the first section, and we can actually see all the variables that are currently here. So 1 minute input rate, input errors, output errors, and this all exists just because we know the expected output of each of the of various commands, and we're able to assign certain areas of that expected output into variables. So here, if I wanted to select a new parser variable for let's just keep it simple for Cisco iOS, all I need to do is go into NetBrains parser library, select the device, or select the vendor that I want to execute devices for, and then go into whichever device that I need to take a look at with certain variables. So if I wanted to go look at spanning tree or OSPF or interface transceivers, then I'd be able to do this. Just going to show that NetBrain is using the exact same data that you guys are using, just in a more targeted way. And if I wanted to, I could just add any of these to this existing Dataview template, and I'd be able to go into EIGRP interfaces detail, right? And I could put these variables inside of this Dataview template, and then the next time I run it, it'll be pulling that information as well. All right, that's everything I got. I'm going to pass this off back to Chris.
Okay, so that was really cool. Definitely some powerful diagnostic capabilities for remote access networks. Particularly like the Dataview templates, their ability to just containerize literally any data and visualize on the map. Apologies for the dog. In summary, NetBrains adaptive automation enables the quick deployment of very robust, powerful, and flexible automation capabilities, as we've shown here with our remote access network toolkit. NetBrains' flexible, quick to deploy, and no-code automation and analytics capabilities provide the rich dynamic visibility you need for literally any aspect of your network topology or telemetry. By combining NetBrains' AI-driven golden baseline, the granular hop-by-hop A/B path analysis, and our flexible Dataview templates to collect and visualize any data, you gain complete visibility and diagnostic automation of your entire internet and VPN infrastructure. So lastly, I want to provide you with the details on how to obtain our remote work toolkit. As mentioned, NetBrains Remote Work Toolkit has automations designed to diagnose and manage remote access VPN infrastructures, and it's being made available to any current customer, any current NetBrains customer. Specifically, it provides ability to dynamically map all of your VPN-enabled devices, to define and track key application paths, to verify your device health, and to enable data views with detailed connection information for Cisco Anyconnect or Cisco IPsec VPNs. I just want to point out that this was built by our in-house network automation team to manage our own remote access network. And we can definitely augment this and add multi-vendor and other capabilities into it at customer request. So please reach out to our support team to obtain a copy. And thanks for attending the webinar. We'll be here for a little while to answer any questions. Thank you.